Welcome to the U.S. latest news channel. Watch the video to the end to find out the current and breaking news about the Russian war in Ukraine. After the referendum, the town of Donetsk has now gained a foothold on the brink of a siege. Shortly after the referendum, the question that not only Russia and Ukraine, but also the whole world were wondering was what was happening in the Ukrainian town of Donetsk. In particular, it should be explained and addressed KS Ukraine's army in the face of this important decision of Russia. After the referendum, he never wanted to stop holding out and resisting the Russian soldiers. The Ukrainian army has decided to further accelerate its work to repel the Russian army. Last month, the head of the Luhanks regional administration of Ukraine, Sergiy Hayday, stated that about 5,000 Russian soldiers were surrounded in the port city in the Donetsk Town region and that they had entered here. In addition, although the Ukrainian army is resisting in order not to lose its territory to Russia and Vladimir Putin, the Russian army continues to maintain its utmost perseverance and determination to take Ukraine parcel by parcel with the leadership of Russian President Vladimir Putin. In addition, Russian President Vladimir Putin at the same time, in later times, to pursue policies which will take even steps on how to fully encircle the Ukraine, most importantly, will not use nuclear weapons, Russian President Vladimir Putin that pretty much took its place among subjects who are wondering. In addition, the United States, Joe Biden recently, the CNN channel by joining Russian President Vladimir Putin has taken the radical decision that's certainly seen as a correct attitude and approach by the United States. Besides the United States, Joe Biden also stated that Russian President Vladimir Putin will not use nuclear weapons, saying that he considers Russian President Vladimir Putin's statements on the use of nuclear weapons irresponsible and unnecessary. Russian President Vladimir Putin's plans for Ukraine are very confusing. The fact that Russia, which is showing its strength on the world with its nuclear power, armed navy, and military structure, has not yet been able to completely invade Ukraine in the 8-month period brings to mind the stagnation. In addition, there are no clear moves that have been made on either side while the tension has escalated so much. If we look at the war from a bird's eye view, Ukraine is resisting, Russia is attacking with its army. The war that started with the attacks of Russia on February 24, 2022, is currently the 8th. We are in the month. The tension between the two countries has been showing its effect for months. In addition, it is considered a very wrong attitude to make sentences that Russia wins or Ukraine loses unless the war ends decisively. There is no definite clear statement on when the war will end or when Russian Minister of State Vladimir Putin will completely take over Ukraine. The explosion on the Crimean Bridge brought hearts to mouths at the place of expression, while the Ukrainian crisis in Russia continues to show its impact. If it is necessary to act in accordance with the reports received, it is suggested that the United States was shot down by an underwater drone that it provided to Ukraine. In addition, the image of an object seen before the explosion caused quite a lot of repercussions in both social media and digital environments. On the other hand, the image of the Crimean Bridge, which Russia uses the expression doomsday will break if it is destroyed, after the explosion made the whole world nervous. In addition, among other information received is that Ukraine carried out the attack. December. What will Russia's move be? One wonders. The Russian-Ukrainian war, which is now being followed by millions of people, continues to bring about many different events. At this point, it was known that Russia had been conducting occupation operations on Ukrainian territory for months, while it was also known that Ukraine launched an offensive against Russian troops in September. At this point, it is now a well-known fact that some countries openly support Russia, while others openly support Ukraine. At this point, Western states have now begun to train Ukrainian soldiers in different training camps. In these trainings, high-ranking military officials of the countries take part, while the operations that Ukrainian soldiers need to do in order to retake the regions are shown. At this point, it is stated that very productive hours have passed in the ongoing operations in Western countries, while the military operations carried out, especially within the scope of the UK, are leading from the point of view of Ukraine. Currently, it is also reported that many Western states will invite Ukrainian soldiers to undergo various trainings. At this point, millions of people began to wait anxiously to see which would be the next country of education. While the aid of Western states to Ukraine continues openly, after the money and ammunition assistance, the training of soldiers has now begun. At this point, it is estimated that the number of soldiers who have gone to the UK for training has now exceeded 5,000. In the latest statements made by the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, it was announced that 5,000 Ukrainian servicemen had been sent to the vicinity of Great Britain and were being trained there. Thanks to this, the news that Western states are training Ukrainian soldiers has also been confirmed on the basis of official sources. Now, everyone is looking forward to the announcements that will be made by Russia about these trainings. It has now been announced that large training camps for Ukrainian soldiers have been created within the framework of the UK, and each of them is being trained on the basis of various military officials. At this point, the British government issued a joint statement with the Ukrainian government, informing about the goals and importance of the program. The UK government stated that the camps created for the training of Ukrainian soldiers have been made widespread throughout the country and that this number will increase every day, as well as the training of 5,000 Ukrainian soldiers now. In addition, in recent statements made by the government, he stated that the general name of the program in which Ukrainian soldiers are trained is Operation Interflex. Now many journalists have started to wait for new images to come from regional trainings. The UK-based Interflex program, which millions of people now want to hear information about, continued to interest everyone with the training of about 5,000 Ukrainian soldiers, as well as representatives from different countries. But the expected happened, and in the end it was stated which officials from which countries are under the Interflex program. At this point, in the statements made by the UK government recently, it was stated that educators from the Netherlands, Canada, New Zealand, Ukraine, and the United Kingdom took part in the Interflex program. It has also been stated that the number of Ukrainian soldiers trained so far has exceeded exactly 5,000 and that this number will increase much more soon. The Interflex program made in the UK continues to be a subject of curiosity with its general definition and which countries it is programmed by, as well as the subject of which trainings the soldiers undergo. At this point, while the UK government was hiding which trainings were organized for the advantage of Ukraine, it has now announced which trainings about 5,000 Ukrainian soldiers have received and have returned to the combat environment. According to the information transmitted by the UK government, it was stated that Ukrainian soldiers were transferred to Ukrainian soldiers who were skilled in tactical medicine, combat engineering, warm contact, psychological and tactical defense, attack and defense in an urban environment. At this point, about 5,000 soldiers gain knowledge, skills, and abilities in related subjects thanks to the tasks and exercises carried out, while also gaining experience in defending their territory. The Interflex program, which is now in the language of millions of people, continues to be presented among the gratitude and decency of the Ukrainian authorities. The program, in which soldiers sent personally by the Ukrainian General Staff are trained in the UK, continues to attract the attention of many diplomats. At this point, the expected happened, and in the end, statements about the Interflex program were made by the General Staff of Ukraine. In a statement made by the General Staff of Ukraine, the Interflex program launched in the UK is considered one of the most vivid examples of the support that our country sees internationally. It is also a convincing proof for the Interflex program that Ukraine is not alone in its struggle against the Russian occupation, statements were used. The Interflex program, which has been planned in recent days to train thousands of Ukrainian soldiers, continues to show continuous development with the support from different countries. At this point, it is planned to improve the trainings included in the program and for Ukrainian soldiers to take more important steps against the Russian invasions. Currently, the current program is planned to continue in the same way with support from different countries, while in the future, on the basis of the program, military units and small commands of the Ukrainian armed forces are also trying to ensure that they can come to the UK and receive a full-fledged training. In addition, it seems possible to offer new trainings and address different courses within the scope of the Interflex program in the coming days. It is now known that the most important aid and training has been provided by the UK within the framework of the Interflex program, while it was known that different countries have also begun to participate in these military programs. At this point, according to recent statements, it was announced that not only within the scope of the UK, but also Ukrainian soldiers will soon be trained in Denmark. At this point, the idea of inviting Ukrainian soldiers to Denmark to study different subjects was put forward by the Danish Minister of Defense during his visit to Kyiv. While it is known that this idea is warmly considered between the two countries, it is planned to continue the issue through the UK and with the Interflex program. December. So, at first, exactly 130 joint trainers are planned to be sent to the UK via Denmark this fall. Later, an educational summit such as the Interflex program is planned to be held on a Danish basis. At this point, it is said that after Denmark, many different countries will also start providing assistance to Ukraine and will invite Ukrainian soldiers to join their military. In addition to these extra aid, it was announced that material and ammunition support for Ukraine by Western states will continue. Millions of people are now waiting anxiously to see which will be the last states to send their support to Ukraine. The Ukraine-Russia war, which continues to interest the global media more and more every day, has now almost confused social media platforms. At this point, while following the latest developments about the Ukrainian-Russian war, it was also known that some users indicated their comments. At this point, the Interflex program, which is currently on the agenda in social media, has officially divided the platforms into two. Some users argue that these trainings are very important for Ukraine to maintain its territorial integrity, while others explain that now the weapons should be silenced by all parties and diplomacy should work. At this point, many social media users have also started to look forward to the new developments that will appear under the Interflex program. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video to be informed of the developments at the speed of light.